So this is the very first episode in my brand new video series, Kendo Zero to Sandan. This is a follow-on from Kendo Zero to Shodan, which is a series of videos that I put out a couple of years ago now. It's a very, very successful series of videos. And to be honest, I'd recommend you watch that if you haven't seen it already. This is not necessarily a sort of follow on from it directly, but it is kind of an addition to it in lots of ways. Essentially, the idea of Kendo Zero to Shodan was to take you from literally zero up to the point of giving you everything you need in terms of study materials, if nothing else, to get through the first Dan rank, the Shodan rank. Not really designed to be used on its own. It's supposed to be designed, used together with practice in the dojo. This one isn't. It's not really. I could have called it, Shodan to Sandan, but I really wanted it to be more of a sort of thing that will be all-encompassing. All right, so even if you're not Shodan yet, I want this video series to be useful for you, and for Kendo instructors out there as well. I hope it'll be a useful sort of resource for you, helping you get your students through the different levels. This is just the first episode. Like I said, it's kind of a pilot. I want to kind of test it, see how it's sort of, how it goes, what sort of response we get, and see how we go on. I want to try and keep the videos a little bit shorter than the last series. They'll be a little bit more sort of bite size. So we're not going to be going into massive depth with each video, but maybe, you can watch a few chunks here and there. And that's it really. Today we're going to start right at the sort of basics, and we're going to start with Kendo Kata because it's not something that we really covered in Zero to Shodan, right? And it is needed in all levels, pretty much. And we're going to look at the basics of the basics, the Kamae. Okay, we're going to get to that in just a minute, but first, before we do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, support this project, support my other videos here on YouTube. Get the best Kendo equipment in the known galaxy and universe that's ever existed in the history of mankind by shopping at KendoStar.com. I, of course, would say those brilliant things about KendoStar.com because it is my website and I own the place. But everybody agrees with me. You can see how well we are reviewed and rated, and I'm sure everyone in your dojo is already shopping at KendoStar.com. So get to KendoStar.com. Right, we're going to get into this. All right, what we're going to do is I've already prepared some footage. We're just looking at the Kamae today. If this video goes well, if it's successful, we'll move on. We'll start looking at the kata in more in depth, and then we're going to move on to other topics as well, relating to Shinai Kendo. That's going to help you get through, like I say, all the levels up to Sandan. One last thing before we move on. The last thing I would say about the whole idea, why I decided to go with sort of Zero to Sandan on this, is that basically my sort of current way of thinking, shall we say, is that the basics of Kendo are what are required up to the third Dan level. All right. So what you need to get through third Dan is a good grasp of the basic Kendo Kihon, the basic techniques, and an understanding of valid strikes, Yuko Datotsu. Okay. And the requirements are sort of the same all the way from Shodan to Sandan. It's just as expected at slightly varying levels along the way. So I'm hoping that what we can do is we can use this video or this series of videos to help you kind of climb that ladder towards that goal. Okay, without further ado, let's have a look at the Kendo no Kata Kamae. Okay, so the way this is going to work is I've prepared some footage already of me demonstrating a variety of the Nihon Kendo Kata Kamae, and we're going to start looking at the Tachi no Kata, okay, the long sword forms, the Kamae that is used in those. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to come up on the screen and I'm going to talk you through the main points and things you need to consider. So here is our first one. This is Chudan no Kamae. Okay, Chudan no Kamae. Well, most of us know this Kamae from our Shinai Kendo. This is the middle stance. Okay, essentially, it's a bit hard to see because of my hakama, but I think you know already. You should have already seen from the Zero to Shodan series. You start with the right foot in front, the left foot behind, slightly behind the right heel. The left heel is slightly raised. The posture is straight. Okay. The sword is held in the left hand at the bottom of the scarf, the hilt, with the right hand in front. The wrists should be facing inwards and not outwards this way. And the sword is held out in front at a height that's a sort of extended line towards your opponent's face. Okay, we just skipped on to Jodan there. We'll go to that second. It moves on slightly higher than with a shinai, by the way. Okay, the height of the kensen is slightly higher than with a shinai. Okay, just as well, quick caveat. I know I'm not a perfect example, okay? I'm not 8th Dan, all right? All right, I'm not a perfect example, but I'm doing my best, okay? So next one that's used in the kata, this is used in kata ippon-me, number 1. This is morote migi jodan, okay? Morote means 2 hands. So from the chudan position, we lift the sword straight over our head, okay? It remains straight, as we can see, all right? And it's about a fist away or so, maybe a fist and a half away from our head. Okay, it doesn't want to be too far back or too in front. And then the position of the sword is about a 45-degree angle from the side. Okay, from the side. I don't know where the other clips just disappeared there. Some video editing skills needed. Anyway, this is morote hidari jodan. Okay, morote hidari jodan. This is left jodan. It's often called left jodan. Okay, so both hands, left jodan. In this kamae, we step through from the chudan. We step forward with our left leg. Okay, and we come into a somewhat sort of hand-me position. Our hips are no longer square to our partner. They're slightly sort of 45 degrees diagonal. Okay, our right hip is slightly back as we step forward on the left leg. 45 degrees is a bit of a golden angle when it comes to this kamae. Because we've turned our hips, our center line remains sort of in the same place. Not drawing a very straight line with my mouse there, but the tsukagashira remains on our center line, though our center line is somewhat shifted. Okay, and because of the dynamics of where I have moved my body, my sword is now diagonal from when viewed from the front, about sort of it's not quite a 45-degree angle in that regard. 45 would be much wider, and that'd be too wide. Okay, so slightly less than 45-degree angle. My left wrist is straight as it holds the sword, and my armpits, are not sort of flared out. My elbows are sort of tucked in. Okay. You can see from the side, this angle again it should be like a sort of 45-degree-ish angle. No one's getting a protractor out and measuring you though. Okay, so bear that in mind. And it's just the lighting on my face. There we go. Okay, so this is left jodan. So those two are the ones that are used in the first kata. Okay, next kamae, please. Next is gedan no kamae. Okay, gedan no kamae. This is the kamae that's used in the third kata. From chudan, we use our wrists to lower the kensen to a few centimeters below the kneecaps. Okay, it's still straight. We're still holding the sword properly. Yeah, but it's just a few centimeters below the level of my knees. Okay, my posture remains straight though, and my footwork remains the same as it was in chudan no kamae. Okay, this is gedan no kamae, the lower stance. Reasonably simple one. Next, we have hasso no kamae. Hasso no kamae. Okay, this is one people get wrong quite a lot. I'm going to show you some bad examples soon. But here we step through on the left. This is a lot like left jodan. Our hips again go onto a slightly diagonal angle, which is why the blade is also held in a diagonal position. Essentially, this is the same position I would be in if I was in left jodan, but instead of the arms over the head, they're now dropped to my chest level. Tsuba is about the mouth level, but it's not too close to my, my face. And my left hand remains in the center of my body. The sword is at about a 45-ish degree angle from the front and from the sides. Okay, it's a lot like left jodan, morote hidari jodan. Very, very similar kamae. Okay, this is used in the fourth kata. Also used in the fourth kata is wakigamae. Okay, wakigamae is a very different stance. It's completely hand-me, so side on. We step backwards on our right foot. Okay, so our left foot comes in front. Our back heel remains raised though. You shouldn't plant yourself flat on the floor, and you should keep your face towards the opponent. The sword comes up past your face, past your mouth level, and it comes down by your side in this way. Yeah, you can see in this bottom right diagram, and it's about a 45-degree-ish angle pointing downwards and away. Further, the blade itself, the sharp edge, is pointed diagonally away and downwards, okay, in this position. From the front, you can't really see the sword, all right? You can't see how long it is essentially the idea, okay? But I keep a good posture. I'm not leaning or anything like that. My feet aren't too wide apart. This is the wakigamae, okay? Again, used in kata number 4. So, last one we're going to look at. This is, I didn't film this from the sides, probably should have. This is when you release the kamae, okay? So at the start of the day or at the beginning and end of the kata, when we, from chudan, from chudan, we lower the sword straight down and open up this way, okay? This is releasing the kamae, okay? Kamae will toki. So, it goes down below the knee and opens out of the body line this way. Not too far, okay? Not too far. But this is essentially like, it's not the kamae, it's releasing the kamae, okay? In this way. And that's when you would make your 5 steps away. Okay, so we're on to the bad examples. These are the fun ones. All right, so this is a bad example of chudan no kamae. Okay, chudan no kamae. We'll start with chudan no kamae. So here you can see the way I'm holding the sword is completely wrong. Okay, I'm just holding it straight here with and the kensen is far too high. All right, so my grip is incorrect, and the height at which I'm holding the sword is wrong. Conversely, this is the opposite problem, all right? This is the opposite problem. It is too flat. Okay, this is not correct either. Here, my shoulders or my neck is arched this way. My elbows are bent. This is not the correct way, of course, to hold the bokuto. This is not the correct kamae. Okay, too much tension in the shoulders like this. It's hard to do these bad examples, you know, something like this. This is another very common one here. The wrists are in the incorrect position. I'm probably exaggerating these slightly, okay? Probably shouldn't be quite, you know, but in any case, it shouldn't be this way. You should be holding from above, okay? We'll look at the good example again in a minute, but also here you can see my posture is completely incorrect as well. I'm sort of leaning forward in this way. This is not correct either, okay? So I'm gripping the sword wrong, my posture is wrong. Here, my arms are too extended, okay? I'm extended out with my arms, and I'm not gripping the bokuto correctly, okay? My left hand is next to my right one. This is not correct. And again, I have bad posture, okay? This is not correct. Well, this is the correct one again. What I want you to do is I want you to, if you're working towards, you know, your gradings, check these kamae in the mirror or film yourself. Okay, compare them, see which of these you're most similar to. So again, we get another look at the sort of better example. And again, it's not a perfect example, but this is the correct chudan no kamae. Okay, so it wants to look more like this one. Next, we'll look at the migi jodan. Okay, morite migi jodan. In this bad example, we can see that the sword is just held incorrectly, too high above our head and falling backwards. Okay, this is not correct. This hand position is incorrect. This is the opposite problem, where the sword is held too upright. Okay, this is not correct either. This is another bad example. Is that often you see this one often. This is sort of misinterpretation or misunderstanding between migi jodan and hidari jodan. Okay, with migi jodan, the sword is held straight, not at a diagonal like this. There's no need to hold the sword diagonally, as our hips are not on an angle either. They're straight. Okay, so this is not correct. Okay, this is with the right jodan. And here the arms are too straight, they're locked, and I'm holding the sword too far away from my head. Okay, here again, this is more like what it should look like. Okay, this is more like migi jodan that we want to try and go for. Okay, so again, compare it with footage or reflection of yourself. Okay, here's the left jodan. Okay, this is a Morite Hidari Jodan, bad example. The arms are too wide open, the armpits are flared out like this, the elbows are flared out like this, sorry, exposing the armpits clearly, and the angle of the blade is completely wrong. Okay, this is not the correct Hidari Jodan. Next, the position of the hands has been sort of misunderstood. And sort of not only has the sword sort of gone a little bit too diagonal, the hands have sort of gone in the wrong direction as well. Okay, this is a reasonably common mistake people make, thinking about sort of holding the sword in a diagonal position. Here, the angle of the blade is the opposite to what it should be. Okay, this should not be held in this direction. Here, the elbows are too tucked in, and the whole thing is a little bit too compact. Okay, this is not correct either. And here, the elbows are too far apart, the sword is held too flat. Okay, this is not the correct Hidari Jodan either. This is quite common. People often have this sort of image of Jodan, but no, this is not how we want to do left Jodan. Okay, step through, and it wants to look something like this. Okay, this is the Morote Hidari Jodan. Next, we'll look at Gedan. Okay, Gedan. In this example of Gedan, the posture is leaning forward. Okay, we keep the same posture as we have in Chudan, and we get to Gedan using our wrists. Okay, probably not so many common mistakes with Gedan, but this isn't correct. And then the other mistake people use is they use this hand position to achieve Gedan. This is not correct either. Okay, this is not using this hand position. The wrists just flex downwards; they don't lift up. Okay, it's very, very common. Please make sure this isn't what you're doing. Wants to be like this. You can see this position of the wrists this way. Okay, like that. You have to be able to stretch your wrists slightly this way. Okay, it's a little bit unusual. Okay, so here's Hassel no Kamae is a common one because it looks like a kind of movie poster. All right, but the hand positioning, you know, probably don't copy this facial expression either. Have to get into character. The position of the sword and the arms is wrong here. It's held too far away. It's held directly upright, and the grip on the sword is incorrect. Okay, so this is not how we want to do Hassel no Kamae. Here it's the opposite problem in a way. The sword is held too flat, similar to the incorrect Jodan. All right, it doesn't want to be at this angle. And then here is a less extreme version where it's sort of held in closely but upright. Probably looks similar to, I'm sure there are some sort of versions of Hassel no Kamae from other martial arts that look similar to this, but in Kendo it doesn't look like this. Okay, so this one is incorrect. Okay, it's not this way. Finally, here it's almost okay, but the position of the tsuba is too close to the mouth. Okay, I'm almost biting it. Okay, something like this is much better. All right, so a lot more similar to left Jodan, just with a different position of the hands. Okay, so here the wakigamae, bad example. Okay, so not correct posture, not correct positioning of the sword, not correct in lots of ways. Okay, so you don't want to be sort of arching or bending over like this. Okay, like you're about to do some kind of finishing move. Okay, I struggle to hold that one together, as you probably saw. Here, the sword is held too far out to the side, so it's clearly visible from the front. Okay. Here it's the opposite, where I've sort of tried to pull it so far behind it's sticking out the back. This is a common one too, so be careful of this one. Also, my heels are flat here. You don't want to have flat heels. Okay. Something like this is what we're going for. Okay, something like this. Okay. Now we'll look at the Nihon Kendo Kata Kamae, the Kodachi no Kata. Okay, the Kodachi no Kata. So again, we're just looking at the Kamae here. Okay, so this is the Chudan no Kamae with the Kodachi. Okay, the Chudan no Kamae with the Kodachi. Okay, so again, the feet is similar. The hands, not the hands, sorry, the body position is similar to with the Tachi. My left hand is on my hip with the fingers together. okay, in this way, and then the right arm is holding the sword extended out a little bit further than my right arm would be if I was holding Tachi, of course. If you look at it from the side, it means that I can almost cover the same distance. If I was holding the Tachi, maybe the Kensen will be in a similar-ish position. All right, but I keep my my posture the same. Okay, this way. This is a Jodan no Kamae with the Kodachi, okay? So this is mainly used in kata number 1 for the Kodachi when we take Zanshin, okay? So again, we just raise the swords directly over our head this way with a slightly bent elbow, correct position of the hands and wrist, about a fist away from our head, okay? Not too upright, not too back. Something like this, okay? So this one's got a nice long name. This is Jodan ni taisuru chudan hanmi no kamae, okay? Jodan ni taisuru, against Jodan, chudan hanmi no kamae, so the hanmi, so side on chudan no kamae, okay? Here we turn almost completely sideways onto our partner, and we raise the kensen to be about the face level, okay? The face level. Our partner, of course, would be in left Jodan, because this is used in kata number 1 for the Kodachi, okay? Something like this, okay? Now, caveat. I have a little bad habit when I do this. I'm leaning forward a little bit more than I should be, okay? So probably don't need to lean forward as much as I'm doing here, all right? It's not egregious though, so don't, you know, don't flame me too hard, okay? But it's like this, okay? So it's about the face level, okay? This is gedan ni taisuru chudan hanmi no kamae, okay? So this one's used in kata number 2. So against the gedan versus gedan, chudan hanmi no kamae, okay? So similar sort of thing, but this time we lower the height of the sword, so it is sort of just around the sort of lower, the sort of abdomen area, okay? Sword remains straight in both instances, by the way. This is gedan hanmi no kamae, okay? So this is hanmi, I turn side on, and I move to gedan with the kodachi, okay? This is the one that we use in kata number 3, all right? So again, from here, I turn to the side, and the kensen is just below my knee level, okay? This is gedan hanmi no kamae. Here's a bad example of the chudan with the kodachi, okay? So here my wrist is sort of locked at this 90-degree angle almost, and the kensen is too high, all right? So this is not correct. Here, I've left my hand by my side like you do when you're doing the, you know, no kamae sort of position. Okay, my hand's in the wrong position. This is not correct. Here, my right arm is too bent, okay? So the sword is held too closely to me, okay? Yeah, this isn't correct. Okay, you want it to be more like this, okay? More like this. Okay. This is a bad example of the Jodan with the kodachi, okay? So don't forget, this is the one where after you make the strike, you step back and make the Jodan for Zanshin, okay? So people sometimes over-exaggerate it, you know, exaggerate a little bit and get a little bit carried away. Right, that's too far away. Okay, my arm's too extended. Okay, this is not correct. This one, it's too close to our head, okay? It wants to be more like this, okay? More like this, okay? Again, these aren't perfect examples. The good examples aren't perfect, but they're better than the bad examples, okay? Okay, so here's the bad example of the Jodan ni taisuru chudan hanmi no kamae, all right? So here, the sword's sort of extended diagonally across, like pointing towards the kote, like you might do similarly with the tachi. The sword should be straight, okay, pointing at the other person's face. Okay, so not this way, okay? This is definitely leaning too much as well, too far apart. This wants to be more like this, all right? But again, I'm leaning a little bit too much in fairness. I should probably bring my left foot up a little bit. Similarly with the bad example of the gedan ni taisuru Chudan Hanmi no Kamae. Lovely long name, that. It doesn't want to be sort of diagonal in this fashion, okay? It wants to be straight, all right? And again, this is definitely too far of a lean, much too far of a lean, okay? It's more like this, all right? More like this, okay? And there we are, okay? So we're back at the beginning. So that was an introduction to the Kamae that we use in the Nihon Kendo Kata. As I say, this is the first pilot episode of Kendo 0 to Sandan. I hope you found it really useful, and I hope you found it valuable. There's more of this content to come. This is just the very, very first small, tiny step on what I hope will be a long and fruitful journey. We'll cover all sorts of things in this series. We'll go over some old ground that we've already been over in 0 to Shodan. There's some things I'd like to revisit, maybe give more details on. And then there's other things that we'll add to as well, new things, new techniques, new practice methods, things like that. And there's all sorts of things I'd like to expand on, as well as things like how, you know, great approaches to grading and how you should approach your Tachi. Okay, so I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that sort of thing. Support the project, support the channel, support the videos that we put out by shopping at KendoStar.com, and we will see you in the next episode of Kendo 0 to Sandan.